Um, we're doing a group. We have to do a group presentation for interventions, and our topic was heroin.
Heroin,
but substance abuse in general. So
Okay.
if heroin's not just like a sole, like program that you do, it's just a wider, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anything about like how like interventions work, or like what kind of interventions do you guys do?
Okay, so my program, I have a adolescent substance abuse treatment program, and so we provide substance abuse treatment. If you're aware, substance abuse treatment, they have different levels of care. So it starts off at the highest level, which is residential. Residential, they'll usually stay at a facility 24 hours, provide treatment, school, and stuff like that. The step down after that is intensive outpatient treatment. You provide treatment from 9 to 12 hours a week of group or individual hours. After intensive outpatient, the drop after that is outpatient treatment, provides 2 to 8 hours of a week. And so our adolescent program provides intensive outpatient and outpatient for adolescents between ages 12 to 18 years old. And then they can come in with all sorts of, we don't work on a specific drug, so we'll service everyone with any alcohol or drug abuse or dependence.
Can you go, if anything, can you go in more in depth, like what kind of like ways you help the patients, like what kind of like programs or what do you guys activities you guys do?
Okay. So our program, we like to use the CBT model, the cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
With adolescents, we believe that if you have them think about their thought process, it could lead to better decisions at the long run. So it's pretty much more about thinking about how their values and morals drive the actions that they do. And in life, we teach them that it's not only pertaining to substance abuse, but anything in life. As a teenager, you go through that. You'd have to make decisions for. If you use that model, it pretty much would take you far.
Oh, okay.
Because we like to tell them that as adolescents, we like to do instant reactions. Whatever sounds good at that time, yeah, I'll be there. We're not thinking about the consequences, whether it's good or bad, or what it leads us to. So in our program, we like to change their thought process and have them believe more in their values and morals so that drives their actions. So we do utilize cognitive behavioral, a CBT curriculum. We use the Pathways of Self-Discovery and Change. It's from Harvey Milkman. And in that curriculum, so how our groups run is that we run 3-hour group sessions 3 times a day for intensive outpatient. In the 3 hours, the first hour half is our curriculum. So we teach them about the CBT model and go over the curriculum and the lessons. And then our second half of the program, it's trying to entice them to find different ways to communicate. As teenagers, a lot of them don't like that process group where you sit down and we just talk about what's going on, your feelings and stuff. And so we develop what we call an artistic mentoring program. And so in there we could do like art therapy, we do music. Some of our programs we have like capoeira come in. I don't know if you guys are aware of capoeira.
Breakdancing.
Yeah, it's like Brazilian martial arts. And it's a way of them communicating in a different way, whether it through be their art, their music, or the Brazilian arts. So we look at it as a way to entice them into our program. As teenagers, you gotta try to grab them and make it exciting, because if not, you're gonna lose them.
Yeah.
So, and then how we structured it was that the curriculum is the most important part and what we want them to learn. And so, if we make it fun, the second half, 3 hours can be a very long time for them.
So what's your goal for them when they come into the program?
So our goal, of course, is to work with with abstinence, to have them not use drugs and alcohol. As you know, we gotta be realistic with these kids. There are kids that's not what their goal is. They may come in as a daily user. If we can make some changes where they're probably using once a month or on the weekends, then we succeeded somewhere somehow. And it's harder with the adolescents because, like what I said, they're at that time of their life where I'm gonna do what I want to do, and so to just have them come into treatment, I think it's a part of us just flooding that information to them, and hopefully one day in their life as they get older, they'll connect and the light bulb goes on and say, oh, so that's what they were trying to teach me back then, right?
So most of it is mostly group sessions.
Yes, it's so it's 3 days a week. It's group sessions, and then they do individual sessions with our counselors.
Oh, okay. So there's kind of like both,
Right.
both
Yeah.
group and
So they do group and individual sessions.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Do you feel like any part of the program doesn't work at all, or do you think you don't put like any changes to the program to make it better?
You know, we're always looking at ways to make it better. And I think the most challenging part that we have with adolescents is getting the family involved. As you know, with adolescents in the state of Hawaii, they can obtain treatment without their parents' consent. So they can obtain treatment without letting their parents know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. So one of our questions for our group presentation is the pros and cons. So you already have the pros, but do you have any like cons with the model that you guys use that you can think of? You know what I mean? Like,
That's a hard question.
yeah, you know what I mean? Because then, yeah, we have to see the pros and then we have to see the cons. Or we would have to think up some of the cons or
Some of the cons of like
the model,
being in treatment or
Being-
just
like group therapy and or group and
okay.
individual. Or
So the cons could be that when you do group therapy, if
Right.
you so say you have a like it's something that we do and we always keep cautious of. So to me, I don't see it as a con, but it can be a con for other people if they don't think about it this way. Is that if you have a low risk teenager and a high risk teenager, and if you do group therapy, you mix them together. The philosophy is you mix a low risk user and a high risk user. At the end, you're gonna have 2 high risk users. So I think that's what the con is with the group therapy. Also, because if you look at our age range, it's from 12 to 18 years old. You have there's 12-year-olds that are very mature that act like they're 18-year-olds.
Right.
Then you have 12-year-olds who are literally 12-year-olds. And if you mix those together with your 18-year-olds, that can be a con too.
the influence.
Because they would, the influence that they would have with the other kids.
What about the ethnic?
That
Did they have an issue with that too?
lately we haven't. It can become an issue, or like we're from the communities that they come in, gang affiliated that they come in. Those all can be big cons of doing group therapy. But on the flip side, group therapy I think is more efficient only because they get feedback from one another that they're not alone and that they're going through the struggles.
They can bond
with
together.
somebody else, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Which more ethnic groups you guys have out here? For you?
You know, in our town program, it varies. We do have a kind of high percentage of the Micronesian population. But then when we go outskirts, like, so we have a Kaneohe office as well. Those you'd see more of the Hawaiian.
Canal?
Kaneohe?
Kaneohe.
There's a canal?
The Kaneohe site,
Yeah,
we see
more.
more of the Hawaiian and the local kids. And then we also have a Pro City site, and those you'd see a lot more of like the Asians.
Asians, okay,
and
yeah.
then- yeah. So it varies.
Varies where the locations.
The
where
communities that
communities,
we're
yeah.
working in.
I got you.
See, I understand. Because out here more Micronesian, you have the town side.
Right. Yeah. And then also the drug of choice also varies by the communities as well.
Oh, really?
So like, for example, in town, because our area is so wide that we can go all the way from Hawaii Kai straight to Kalihi, we do see more of like the
Harder.
cocaine
Oh,
and the meth, the pills. Unlike when we go to the windward side, pretty much our typical drugs would be just alcohol and marijuana.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you go to the central side, you'll see a mixture of both, but it just all depends where the geographic area they come from.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Like Waihoa is, because Waihoa, some of them could be cocaine, most of
Yeah.
them would be marijuana.
Yeah, so it just all depends.
yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions? We gotta look at our.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Better get all the information you need
Yeah,
before
yeah,
you
yeah.
even, oh, we should ask this.
So it's like a 10-minute presentation for each of us. Like we're in a group, so we have 10 minutes each, and then we have to explain. Yeah. So like, how's the process of like bringing people in? Like, or do families just come in and just
So our program, it's a community-based program, so pretty much anybody could refer them to the program.
Oh, okay.
We do get referrals from the courts, so they could be adjudicated or they could be court ordered to participate in our treatment program. We do also work with a lot of the high schools where they get suspended from school for possession or under the influence of drugs or alcohol. They'll refer them to us to obtain treatment. Or you could do a self-referral. So the family or the child himself or herself could refer them to the program.
Oh, okay.
So how do they get out of the program, like finish it, if their goal is like reach, like how do
So our program runs in levels. So when they come in, they're in the intensive outpatient level. They'll have so much weeks. It's like a 4 to 16 week intensive outpatient program. So once they're in that, once they complete that, we'll do a random drug screen. If they come out clean, then we can transition them to the outpatient level. Outpatient level, they'll come 2 times a week for the 3 hours each, so 6 hours. Again, work through the curriculum that does the level 2 part of the program. Do a random drug screens throughout the whole program, and then as they start to finish off that level, we'll do a random. If they come out clean, we transition them to outpatient 1, where they come once a week, and that's more of preparing them for going back out in the community, and that's usually a 30-day program. Once they do that, complete a drug screen that's clean, then we discharge. We give them a clinical discharge.
So if they fail the drug test, do they just go back
We
to the
extend
beginning
their,
of?
no, we would extend them in that level.
Oh, okay.
So it could be for 30 days, it just all depends.
So you guys mostly work on the youth, or what about the adults and all them?
We do have an adult component as well. So we do have an adult intensive outpatient program.
This one's the same thing as well?
Pretty much the same. The only difference is that with our adult program, they all need to be referred through probation though. Probation or parole.
Oh, so it's
So we
different
all
laws.
just worked with,
Oh,
So
okay.
their referral sources are just all from probation or parole.
So what major differences do you see between the adults and the adolescents? If there's any difference that you see.
I see it, well, I worked in both areas. I see the adults as kind of like the kids. It's just that legally they're adults.
Yeah.
So mentally, I think they work the same way. And I think with the adults, the harder or the challenging part is they can be a little bit more manipulative, or if they've been through the system so many times, they'll know how to
The
just
system.
do what they need to do to get by with things. And to build their motivation, I think is a lot harder than working with an adolescent and building their motivation. With the adults, I think their mindset is so set that if I want to change, I'm going to change when I want to change, you know, and trying to build that motivation, which we're with kids, we know and understand that maybe this is not the time, but they'll still suck in that information, and hopefully they'll use it at the end. But with adults, it's either a hit or miss. Either I'm motivated today or I'm not motivated tomorrow. I think that's the biggest difference.
Are there any like adolescents that will like almost like drop out of the program?
We
'Cause
do. So we do have some adolescents that come in, and after a month or so, that they can be like, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore, or they just stop coming, and that's their choice. And then usually they'll come back knocking on our door, I want back, you know. So it just all depends.
But do many of them change after that? So
I like to say yes. We do a 6-month follow-up after discharge, and in a lot of our follow-ups, I think our biggest thing we want to hold is that they're not back into treatment, and that they're still living in a stable environment. They're still going to school. They're not cutting school. They're not missing school. So those are some of the outcomes that we look at in our 6-month follow-up. So if those outcomes are high, then we feel that we've done a success in them. So, you know, they could still be doing drugs and alcohol, maybe not as often as they were when they first came into the program. But if we look at all the other areas in their life, like family, social, and education, like they're all still in place and they're still doing good. So to us, that's a success.
but
You ready?
I want to explain it, so I don't think of it.
What do you have to present?
Pretty much the information processing or intervention we have. So the intervention should include a definition of the selected intervention, information regarding target population for the intervention, and current research related to the efficiency of the selected intervention, an assessment of the strengths and barriers to success, aka weaknesses of the presentation. Yeah, that's pretty much what it should be on.
Sorry.
It's okay.
And right here it says the students will be researching a social work intervention to the class, illustrating how intervention works in practice with a particular client, which is the individual or group, family.
We do some family component as well. So for those that have the family involved that do sign consents for family, we'll bring the family in and we'll usually do a monthly family night. And the monthly family night is like an open house for the families to come in, see some of the work that they've been doing. Or we also do some sort of family counseling within, kind of like if there's concerns going on at home that we don't see, families will come bring it in. We'll talk together amongst each other and see how we all can work together so that the adolescent is not manipulating the parents and us and, you know, and trying to use the both of us to get what they want. So we do a lot of family intervention. Again, it just all depends on what area we work in. Some areas will have a lot of family involvement. Some areas we don't have any family involvement. That's just how the communities work.
Yeah. Do you have any like brochures or? Like...
I do. I have a brochure. Was there anything else you guys wanted?
Do you find that at the family like open house things, do you find that the families are like from like broken homes, or are they like stable families, or?
I think there's a mixture of a lot. So we have some that are that traditional family, mom, dad still working, you know. Then we do have a lot of the ones where they live with the mom has a new husband, so they have a stepdad, and then or the parents are divorced. So it just all varies. And then we have some where they use with their parents, so those don't ever come, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult, I think. And I think with the adolescents, there's always something that's missing. I believe there's always something that's missing in their family that they don't get, which is why their life may be so unstable at that time. Our biggest thing that we're working on in our program is how do we include trauma-informed care. Trauma is a big thing now that they want to add in behavioral programs and stuff, because they believe that adolescents go through some kind of trauma in their life, whether it was from infant to where they're at now. There's some sort of trauma, whether it be the divorce, whether it be physically or sexually abused, and how do we determine or how do we work with that trauma, because a lot of the times trauma is what leads them to the substance abuse. He's thinking hard over here.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
If you guys walk away and you know there's things, or as you prepare for your presentation, if like, oh, I should ask this question, I'll give you guys my business cards as well. If you guys can email me or you guys can call me if you guys have any other questions that come up.
Oh, that's helpful.
Feel free to call or email me. And I'll be willing to help with anything.
All right.
All right.
But I'll get you guys the brochures and then I'll get you guys my business cards.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.